Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Hot Seat. This evening on the Hot Seat, we have an outstanding musician, a Grammy Award-winning Sri Lankan-born musician who practices his art in the United States. This evening, pleased to welcome Hussein Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Musician, bassist, sound engineer. Nice to have you on the program, Hussein.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure, actually, and it's delightful to be able to celebrate the success of the Sri Lankan professional outside of the waters of this little, small miracle.
Right.
Tell me, how did you start in the music business?
In the music business, I was always attracted to music since I can remember. Music, okay. Anytime I heard music, I was drawn to it, and I would gravitate towards my sister or my brothers playing piano. Mm-hmm. I would try to plonk around their pianos, and always was really interested in music. It was it's strange because my parents were not musicians.
Oh, so you had no natural background?
No, not within the family. My brothers and sisters played some. Mm-hmm. My mother played a little piano. She read music, but I don't think she played by ear. Mm-hmm. But I had this magnetic pull since I was as far as I can remember. And my mom bought me an accordion when I was about maybe 12 years old. Okay. And got me a teacher, Mr. Logus from Vattala, who used to come to our home. And
where was home?
Bambalapitia.
Okay. Okay.
I was born and raised there. And he gave me lessons on the accordion. Mm-hmm. And that got me very interested. He would play, he would teach me whatever tunes I wanted to learn, bailas, pop tunes at the time. Mm-hmm. And he was a very kind soul and very inspiring teacher. Mm-hmm. So that was my first instrument that I learned to play, was the accordion. And then my mom bought me a guitar when I was about, I'd say 13 or 14 years old.
So that was your first guitar then?
That was my first guitar, an acoustic guitar.
Right.
And I took lessons at Claude Fernando's music studio at the time. A very gifted piano player. Mm-hmm. Mom, I talked her into taking me there and getting some lessons. Mm-hmm. And that was my first taste of a stringed instrument. Right. Which is very
And
very
as
different.
It progressed, you joined the band in Sri Lanka?
Yes, when I was going to school, I went to Wesley in Borella. Okay. And I played the accordion in the marching band, in the school band. And one day when I was about 14 or 15 years of age, Kamala Dararachi, the actor that you might know, was a schoolmate of mine, and he played the side drum in the school band. And I still remember this day like it were yesterday, because I was just at the school today. Okay. Him asking me to come and form a band with him. I'd never been in a band, never played an electronic keyboard. He asked me, "Hey, I'm putting a band together. Would you like to play?" And I was very excited. And that was my first introduction to playing in a pop band. It was with him. He was the drummer, and we had a couple of other guys. And we started a little band, and we played together for about a year.
Did you make much money?
No, not at all. We were still in high school, and we were pretty green, but it was a great opportunity to get our feet wet. And while we were doing that, we met an amazing gentleman named Nihal Chandra Ratna, who now lives in Germany, and he was the bassist of the band Pioneers. And he was such a helpful soul that he took time off of his day. When he saw us struggling there and not really knowing what to do, he came to each and every one of our rehearsals, and he came to each of our gigs and taught us. He taught me chords on the organ, taught the guitar player the guitar parts. He even played drums and showed Kamal what grooves to play. And he was our mentor, and he came to all our gigs. And I have so much gratitude towards him, because it was just the love of helping a fellow musician, and he was a very giving person. He didn't want anything in return. He never asked for money. He was just there, helping us. And
In all this, did you were you viewed, you and Kamal and the others in this band, were you all viewed as some sort of renegades and big nuisance? That you made a lot of noise and
we made a lot of noise, yes.
disturbed the peace.
Right.
Is that the sort of thing you met with?
Not as much at first because we never practiced at the house. We didn't have instruments, for one. So we would go to a rehearsal studio. Upali Adari Singh, I think was his name, the manager of the Pioneers. He had a little room, a rehearsal room. And you, at the time, I think you paid 20 or 30 rupees. And he gave you a 3-hour slot. So we would go in there and make all the noise we want. And then went home. So we were not really making noise at home. That came later.
Did you get into trouble when you had to come home late?
Yes, my mom was very strict. I lost my dad when I was 3, and my mom brought me up on her own. So she was very strict. She didn't let me go out a whole lot, and I was never allowed to go out with my friends or go dancing or go to clubs. The first time I ever stepped into a club was, after a lot of persuasion, was to play music.
Oh, right.
Yes. So if you ask my wife, Naluka, she'd tell you I can't dance. Because I never went to clubs to dance. From the day I stepped into a club, it's been on stage.
So you've been professionally in the club, working?
Working. Gigging at clubs. Never went there for entertainment.
You had a plan. You wanted to do this thing professionally.
I really wanted to. There came a time that I wanted to get serious about this and start playing.
Let's take a short break and come back and discuss your plan. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Hot Seat, where today we have Mr. Hussain Jeffrey, an Grammy Award-winning musician. Hussain, so you had a plan. You wanted to do your music professionally, and so you seized the opportunity to tour Europe. Is that right?
That's right.
And you went with a local band? What was it called?
Yes, let me kind of give you the backstory to that. So after playing in a few different bands locally, I had my own band there for a minute, and then I ended up playing with Noeline Hunter's band, Galaxy. And I was there for about 6 months. We played there 5 nights a week, and we had a great band with 3 piano players, and these are all friends of mine that I grew up playing. We had a good audience, but there came a time that I was starting to, it was a little stifling because I thought, okay, now band sounds good, but we're not going anywhere. We're playing cover music, and I'm not getting any better at what I'm doing. You know, we were all okay musicians, but I knew there was a lot out there to be learned, and I wanted to get better at my craft. So my friend Shiraz and I, we applied to the Berklee School of Music, the drummer in the band. And we thought, yeah, this would be a good opportunity for us to both go there and study. And then weeks went by, and they sent us their brochure, and we were very excited.
Right.
I don't remember, but it was somewhere in the tune of like $25,000 a year or something, and we were making 2,500 rupees a month. And I said, you know,
there was a slight mismatch there.
Mismatch there. This isn't going to work quite well as we wanted it to. So I was disappointed when we found that out, but I was still determined to somehow get to the States and play with with the people I looked up to, and played some good music. So while this was all going on, we were still playing 5 nights a week. One night, this friend of ours, Nazreen Lai, who's the brother of Sheridan Lai and Cami Lai, my childhood friends that I grew up with, he comes down to the club one night and pulled me to a side and said, "Hey, Hussain, my brothers are coming next week, and they're looking for a piano player, because Joe Thambi Muthu, who was their piano player, was a brilliant musician, and it's a shame he's not with us anymore. He was in their band, and he was leaving the band, so Sheridan had asked him to come ask me, and I didn't think twice about it. I said, wow, I'm not really a piano player, but I think given the opportunity, I can make this work. So I didn't have to think too hard. I said, yeah, sign me up. So they came back, they came down 2 weeks later, and I signed a contract with their manager, even without them hearing me play. It was just a incredible stroke of luck that this happened. I feel very blessed to have known them and to have got the opportunity. So I went with them to Europe, and I practiced really hard. I practiced, 10 hours a day, just getting keyboard parts together, because I wasn't really a piano player. I kind of knew chords, but I had a okay enough ear to pick things off of CDs, and I got by. So I played with them for about 3 years, and then I was looking into coming to the States, and while I was doing that, Amazing Grace was their bass player Nihal was leaving. It's the same Nihal that helped me some 10 years prior to. Now he was the bass player of Grace. He was leaving to get married and start a family, and they needed a bass player, so their leader Tony asked me if I would join the band. And with a lot of reluctance, I said yes, because Sheridan and these guys were like brothers to me, and they gave me this opportunity to play piano with them. But I also knew I wanted to get back to start playing bass, because that's my main instrument. And I thought if I was going to come to school, it would be worthwhile for me to start playing bass again. So I took on the job and as their bass player. And I played with them for 3 years until they disbanded in '87. And then I moved to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood in '88.
Right. So in there, your plan got working.
Yeah, I was getting closer now.
Okay.
And I graduated in '89.
Right.
And it was one of the best years of my life, because I was never really too fond of school, because all I wanted to do was play music and be involved in the arts. And I was not a good student. If you asked any of the teachers at Wesley, I would tell you. So going to school I was so excited to go to school, and I was so immersed in class, and I never missed a class. And
did you have opportunity to? Did you have music as part of your school in schooling at Wesley, or?
Yes, it was at the time. I'm not sure what it is now. We had a music class. But it was a very strange music class. It was a music theory class, and I didn't quite understand how they would even call it a music class, because we were not allowed to touch an instrument.
Right.
We were given a theory worksheet, and we had to fill out. It was like a mathematical thing, A crotchet is equal to a minim, and if you were good at math,
then
you got through.
Right.
Your music class. And I dropped out of music class because it was one of the most boring classes in the school. It had nothing to do with music. I hope that's changed.
Well, perhaps it has.
Yes.
So when you're in the United States now, and you really excelled then at your music school. Is that
I did good at the school, yes. Yeah. I graduated with their vocational honors diploma. But diplomas and certificates don't really hold any weight in the music business. Bottom line is, does somebody like the way you play? Do you have a good feel on the instrument? That's all that matters. Nobody really cares whether you went to school or if you have certificates hanging on your walls.
It's what you can deliver, is it?
It's what you can deliver, and if you can touch people's, lives and musically and soulfully, that's what music's about. So it was. For me to get to where I am, it was a hard, long road, and I'm still chipping away at it. It's been an amazing journey, and it's mostly been word of mouth,
But it's also been an amazing selection of internationally known stars that you've worked with. You've worked with Herb Alpert, and the list is. I've got a big list here.
Right. I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed to have been in those amazing musical situations.
And how did you get a break? Was there one particular break that you got that led this to something else?
When I got out of school for the first couple of years, I've been, just doing a few gigs in town. I was a part of a Brazilian band called Samba Guru with this singer from Brazil, Cacho Moraes. We had a really incredible band that played original music. So I was part of that band, and when Sergio Mendes was looking for a bass player, the piano player in Samba Guru, Bill Brendel, was also in Sergio's band, and Sergio's guitar player and drummer were friends of mine, so they recommended me. So Sergio hired me without an audition. I just got the gig. It kind of fell on my lap, and that was a blessing because I got to tour the world with him for the last 18 years. I just stopped working with him about a year ago.
Okay.
And that opened a lot of doors for me, that gig.
Do you have a favorite star that you like working with, or is it?
I don't have a favorite. There's a lot of people that I've worked with that I really looked up to and I love. Herb Alpert and Lonnie Hall, who I work with at the moment. We have a quintet together. And I love that band because it's a very creative unit. And the music is very open and free, and we get to improvise and kind of play off of each other.
How much of personality comes into play? How well you get on with somebody, or
that's as important as much as how well you play. Because there's a lot of great guys out there, but being able to communicate with people and get along with people and be likable and to be fun to be around with, that's important. That's as important as the way you play, because if you're an arrogant person and you're not fun to be around, no matter how great you play, nobody wants to be around that, So there's a lot of things that go into making somebody successful. One is, being easy to get along, and of course being good at what you do, being good at your craft, and being punctual, and being courteous, and being creative. So all of that,
you need to fuse it all together.
All together. That's every element is as important as the other. Yeah.
And on that note, we'll take another short break and come back to Hussain Jeffrey in the hot seat. Welcome back to the hot seat, and this evening we have Hussain Jeffrey with us. Hussain, how hectic is the life of a musician? What does it do to your home life?
It can be very hectic. Right. I am really blessed that I have an amazing wife, Neluka, who's here with me in the studio today. She's been a rock in my life and has supported me in the last 18 years we've been together.
So it is true then, behind every successful man is a strong woman.
Yes. she's been a blessing. She's been amazing.
So your wife takes care of the mundane things, but she's supporting you because you're always on the road.
Yes, and she's also a very talented musician. She plays piano herself, and she's actually way more talented than I am. She's got perfect pitch, and she's got great ears. We don't get to work as much together.
Can I ask, where did you meet?
We met on a gig. I have known her for a very long time. And Chitra and Soma Pala came to...
As far back as that?
Yeah, to Los Angeles in '89.
Okay.
They needed a bass player. And I said I'd come play, and Neluka was the piano player in that backup group, and that's where I met her, and we've been friends since.
Great.
And,
how demanding is it to work with these, shall we call them, internationally famous and successful stars? How demanding is it?
It is very demanding. You want to be the best at your game. You want to be prepared. So a lot goes into that. If I get a call to do a tour with whoever, let's say for example, in September I got a call to tour with Kenny G in Europe, in Asia, because his bass player was not very well, and I had a week to learn all the material, and all they gave me was CDs with no music. And I was on tour at the time, and I really had to buckle down and find the time to write all the charts to all of his songs and make sure I had the road maps together, and I knew all the grooves and all the transitions. And because I was walking into a gig with no rehearsal, we were on tour.
Okay.
I met Kenny on the tour bus on the way to a show. So we never even ran through all of the music. So being prepared is crucial. So I try to, wake up, fairly early and go to the gym and be focused and be mentally prepared.
How inspiring and how easy or difficult is it to work with Herb, which you've now currently with?
Yeah, Herb, he's an inspiration. Herb is quite an amazing a human being first and then a musician.
How old is he?
Herb is 80. He just turned 80 last year, and he's a powerhouse. He wakes up at 6 in the morning, and he's also an artist, an abstract artist,
Yeah.
and he's also a sculptor. So he builds his 20-foot tall totem poles, and he writes and he arranges and he records music in his studio. So he's a really inspiring person to be around and an amazing human being, very nice, a gentle soul. I consider myself very fortunate and blessed to have gotten the opportunity to be a part of his band.
He and his wife are known to be phenomenal philanthropists.
Yes,
they've
they
given away a lot of money.
Yeah, they've helped so many people and so many great causes. And
It's not only limited to music.
No,
It's across the board.
It is across the board. Education, they've really helped out a lot of universities, helped out the music departments, and people who have needed help. He's always come through for them.
I know you haven't brought your instrument with you because you're on a private visit
Right.
to your land of the birth,
Right.
but do give us an assurance that when you're next here and you do bring your instrument, you can come and show it off here.
Oh, I would love that.
Also, I want to ask you, and I'm sure our viewers will shoot me if they don't get the answer to this.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite track?
A favorite track? I have lots of them. There's so many great artists out there. I'm a huge fan of Stevie Wonder. I love a lot of stuff he did, and George Benson and Sarah Vaughan. So no, to answer that question, I don't have a favorite track. There's a lot of tracks. I love so
You're
much.
saying
music.
this program's the name is the hot seat.
Yeah.
We tend to ask controversial questions, and
Yes.
sometimes we get controversial answers. So I'll try my luck.
Right.
How prevalent is the use of substances, drugs, that kind of thing? Well, why is it that these sort of misuse of these substances, they catch the imagination, not only of the press but of the world's public?
Right.
Is there something particularly difficult about the industry that leads one to this, or is it that there's a lot of money and that's what? What is it?
Yeah, it's a good question that you bring up. I see that, quite often. Mostly in the pop world, when people at a young age
That's right.
come to so much money, they kind of lose it and get into drugs for one reason or the other. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to stay away from all of that. And the people that I surround myself and that I work with, they're all health conscious people that don't even smoke a cigarette. So nobody touches a drink before a performance, or if they have a glass of wine, it'll be, after the show is done. So I've been very fortunate to have worked in circles where most people are very work conscious and conscientious about how they need to get themselves together before a show or a recording session, and not take that path.
One final question.
Yes.
How did you feel when you won the Grammy Award in 2014 for Stepping Out, for the engineering work on Stepping Out? How did you feel?
It was a good feeling, It was very exciting. None of us went for the Grammy Awards that year because we were busy. Herb was working on a new record, and I was working at his club. I'm the front of house engineer at his jazz club. He's got a beautiful club called Vibrato in Bel Air. And I heard about it through a phone call. I was driving home, and my wife, Nelika, was driving behind me in her car, and I got a call from a friend of mine, a Swiss pianist, Gregory Wachter. He called me and said, "Hey, Hussein, what are you doing? Are you in the back of a limousine sipping champagne?" And I said, "No, I'm just driving home. Why?" And he said, "Man, you guys just won the Grammy." This was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This was before the public announcement.
Right.
So that was a good feeling. I called my wife right away, and we went down to the club because I was working that night, and we invited a couple of friends and cousins and had a small celebration.
Wonderful.
I feel very fortunate.
And did you feel that you'd reached the pinnacle of your career, or is there some more?
You know, it's a nice milestone. You know, it's a journey that I'm excited about. Playing more, I'm excited about bettering myself as a bassist, and I want to record more music, and hopefully move forward.
Excellent. Hussein Jeffrey, thank you very much for coming to our studios today and for doing the hot seat for TV1. Please look us up when you're next in Sri Lanka. We'd be delighted to have you on our program again.
Thank you, Faraz. It's a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.